to everyone from Open up for someone here live. How can I say something?
Okay, we're live on YouTube as well. We'll give it a couple more minutes. Good to see everybody. You might want to mute yourself unless you are intending to speak. What? And I'll mute everyone in a couple minutes anyway. But
I joined. I think I did join.
Ryan, if you want to throw some in the chat there, Ryan, just as a reminder, just unless you want to be heard.
We're still in what season is it still? Is it fall? Nope, it's not fall until next Tuesday. Spring or summer. It's not fall until next Tuesday.
Okay, we found it.
Oh, damn. Okay, maybe I missed my. Okay, it shows 4,128.
Town hall meeting for school.
Got that one. Okay, I found the other one. It's like a game. How's everybody doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing
well. Very well.
It's been so I don't know if I'll be on my game today. I'm like, I was off last week and I got back Tuesday. Then I was out of the office yesterday, so it's kind of been one of those weeks where you try to fit a lot into 3 days, and so it was crazy, but it was good. A lot of good things happening. Missed you all last week. I will give another minute or so and then we'll get going. Good to see everyone. Looks like we got 45 so far with Zoom, and we've got a handful of people on the YouTube channel.
I see your puppy in the background.
Yeah, you see her?
No, I ain't started yet. Come on.
So the story behind that
It's
is
your stuff.
she loves Meg, and Meg went out this afternoon, and so she will stay there pretty much perched on the couch until Meg returns.
I understand. I have two right beside me,
about-
right?
It's pretty funny. I'm just happy she's not running back and forth between the front and the rear entrance, looking for her.
You know, it is funny, actually. I think everybody being home so often these days has actually given the dogs a false sense of what the new reality. So you
Yeah,
leave the
I
house
agree.
for half an hour,
Yeah.
and they're beside themselves.
I have to show you, I'll try to have this for next week, but if we go out for even 20 minutes and we come back, it's literally Jameson, my other dog, will just wail. She will just wail and cry like we've been gone for days. And then Tully, who's the little one, will just jump up and yip and all sorts of. I think you're right, Rich. They think this is their new reality. Don't mess with it.
And it very well may be.
It could be, right? It's a good point.
This has caused my already anxiety-driven little Palm Yorkie mix even more anxiety issues whenever I leave to take Aiden to school or I go out, and have to leave her behind. Bless her heart, she just cries and gets her stuff all in a tizzy.
Another quick dipstick on your birth. I'll wait for toxicology to confirm.
Wow.
It's a positive fentanyl.
Okay, well, why don't we get started? It's 2:30. We got a good number of people here. I'm just going to put everybody on mute for now. All right, cool. And then I'm sure other people will join us on the way. Welcome to Town Hall. It is Friday, September 18th, 2020. I'll tell you, this year is weird, right? Because in some ways it has moved so slow because of the pandemic. Yet at the same time, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, we're almost 2/3 of the way through September, which is just remarkable. Like, that's so hard to fathom. So it's incredible. But we are here, and we're here because of everyone's efforts all over the organization to get us to September 18th. and we're going to keep pushing on and doing our very best in the midst of the pandemic to continue to, at a really high level, support people that are in our care and help them continue to live their best life, even in the midst of this pandemic. So really, really cool to have everyone gathering back together for Town Hall. This has really been a special thing that is, I think, very unique. The community and the sense of community that we are building here as a result of these town halls. I was really touched watching George last week, particularly highlighting 9/11 and really just speaking about kind of his memories from that time and just wrapping that into kind of what we're experiencing today with the pandemic. And one of the joys that I've gotten to have is when I've been not able to host, when I'm taking a day off or an afternoon off or something, seeing other people like in their groove, just keeping this community going. And it's really cool. And really, I just love the fact that we've got people at all levels of the organization that care so deeply about St. John's, and that just exudes from their person, you know. And I think it's just such a unique, it is really unique, you know, to get to experience. So George, thank you for hosting last week. You did a phenomenal job. I'm afraid I don't have any fans for you all. Well, I guess I could turn that fan on, but I broke it when I first moved in. And so I haven't got around to fixing the pull string. The pull string came out. So unfortunately my fan won't work. If you'd like, I could still put some account information into the chat box and you guys, you know, feel free, but I don't know. That was great to watch George host last week. I think he did such a phenomenal job. So thank you.
Here, good job, George.
And my pleasure. I really enjoyed it. And I'm glad that everyone got to share, you know, thoughts as we went along throughout that afternoon. So yeah, it was great.
Very cool. I want to just obviously start off the time together with our agenda of just looking at COVID and its impact on St. John's. So just pulling up the email that I received from Precious. Thank you, Precious, for pulling all this together. So, you know, if we look kind of state by state, so in DC, fortunately, we don't have anybody that we support that's actively positive right now. We do, however, have 2 staff that have active positive cases, and that is up 1 from last week. And then, you know, we are fortunate that in Delaware and New York, we still have 0 cases, either for people we support or for staff members. So that is really a positive thing for sure, a good thing for sure. Virginia, we do have 2 people that we support that are actively positive, unfortunately. And we now have 2 people that are also hospitalized. So those same 2 people that are active are in the hospital, which is unfortunate. And that's up 1 from last time we talked last week. So that's not good. And then we do have 1 staff person that is also tested positive in Virginia. So the numbers are lowering, but you know, COVID is still having obviously a dramatic impact. Certainly, we're very concerned anytime that people are hospitalized. And, you know, we're looking at that. So we've seen a slight increase in the number of staff positives in DC and Virginia. Tennessee numbers are coming down, which is good. People recovered. If you remember, we also had a staff member in Harlan Morris that tested positive. And I believe they're on the better side of that and doing better, which is good. You know, we're continuing to monitor, obviously, and practice all universal precautions that we can. George shared the statistic last week, but also, again, the Tennessee Commissioner for DIDD reported that the percentage of cases for the IDD community is 39%, which outnumbers in the state of Tennessee, kind of the general community at 14%. So that's just really alarming and unbelievable. Just demonstrates how susceptible the people we support, how much more vulnerable they are, and how much more important it is in our efforts to prevent the spread of the virus. Again, it is good news that in Tennessee, Harlan Morris, the person who's recovered, and all of our residents are safe, which is absolutely phenomenal. So again, I just want to take this moment now and let's share in a moment of silence, just as we remember those that we've lost to COVID, that also we remember those that are hospitalized now, and that we remember our staff and our fellow team members, as well as those we support that are having the virus actively right now. It takes a toll no matter what. And so just if you would join me in remembering them and praying for them in this moment of silence, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, thank you for doing that. And thank you for continuing to hold space for our team members and for those we support in your hearts. That matters so much, you know, and I think it's incredibly important that we do this together. Until we hit that goal 0, right, we're still in this fight. And so we have to do the very best we can to come out on the other side of it with as few people impacted as possible. And we got to hold tight to those that have been impacted, and our thoughts and prayers are with them for sure. Wanted just to also continue to remind all staff, just the requirement for staff to wear your masks during, or your face coverings and masks during the shifts to prevent the spread to each other and the vulnerable that we're supporting. So if you are working with people we support directly, it is a policy. You need to wear your mask. And I do thank you for doing that. I know that it is uncomfortable to do, and I really appreciate your willingness to do that. You are keeping people safe, whether that's the individuals we support or your fellow team members. And also continue to maintain universal precautions. And especially as we approach the flu season, we are encouraging staff and the people we support to be extra diligent with universal precautions, and also looking into getting a flu shot. You know, we're about to head into flu season, so it's important that we try to minimize the risk of someone catching the flu and be even more susceptible to the coronavirus on top of that as well. And then just to let people know, and I appreciate those that have reached out and demonstrated a willingness to do this, but we continue to engage in cross-training across the agency to be able to deploy if necessary or assist to any other St. John states. It's amazing to me, again, how this organization has come together. George talked about it last week, how there's no states anymore. It's one organization, right? And we're coming together by service line. You know, there's no service lines, there's no states, there's just one organization, which is St. John's. And we continue to find new ways to do that. And we've got team members that are training to be able to be deployed to other states should that need arise. And so I just thank you for your interest in that, your willingness to do that. If you are interested in cross-training, talk to your supervisor and let them know, and they can get the information for how do we make that happen and how can you go through that training. These are unprecedented times. It's not clear when it's going to be over. There's a lot more questions than answers, frankly, as it comes to the vaccine. It's great that vaccines are under development, but there's a lot of questions like we don't know, you know, who will be prioritized with the vaccine. We don't know how many doses of the vaccine. We don't know how effective that first 1 or 2 vaccines that come out will be. And so there's way more questions than answers right now. And so I think we have to continue to have the mindset that we could be in this for the foreseeable future. And that future could be another 12 to 18 months. Whether we have a vaccine or not, I guarantee you that the impact of COVID is going to be with us beyond 12 or 18 months. So our mindset's got to be, you know, we are going to continue to fight this fight. We're going to continue to live with this as our new reality until something changes that means it isn't. And so I just encourage everyone, please continue to adhere to all protocols as it relates to universal precautions, as it relates to wearing your mask on shift, as it relates to communications with your managers, should you become exposed, having to follow through with the local health department protocols, and then following up with return to work policy. So continuing to just give you that message because it is absolutely very important during this time. I hope that you hear that, understanding it's coming from a place of all of us wanting to get through this with as little damage, as little loss, as little harm to people we support and our fellow team members as possible. And then finally, on the topic of COVID, staffing schedules and changes continue to be fluid. And that's just kind of part of the new reality. The reality is that if you're in a residential environment and you have individuals that we support that are not traveling outside of the residence, the staff and visitors, outside people represent the risk to that individual. And so We are looking at schedules and continuing to have that be fluid in the sense of 12-hour shifts, the potential of going on lockdown. All of those things are at play. And again, I just want to thank you all for your willingness to and your flexibility to hang in there as we all try to work together to try to minimize the challenges presented to the people we support. If you have concerns or questions, obviously the place to start is your supervisor. They can help you. But again, thank you again for all that you're doing relative to the staffing schedules and for working the 12-hour shifts. Thank you for those that have locked down at different points in time. I don't believe we have any lockdowns now, at least as of what I heard earlier today, but I still want to make sure that we all understand, you know, the changes in the staff schedules could continue for some time to come. Please, if you have concerns or questions, ask your supervisor. Okay, let me find my other notes here. Okay, other updates. So it's really cool what's going on this week. This is our DSP recognition week. So we don't have a hashtag Frontline Friday today because all week long we've been recognizing our direct support professionals that we love and care so much for and are so grateful for what they do to kind of make our world turn here at St. John's. They are the backbone. They are our frontline people that absolutely are our champions. Especially in the crisis, and they deserve our praise and recognition. So this week, today we're recognizing Miss Una Miller, but this week we've also recognized Mayola Elder and Joanne Washington and Brandy Greer. And so be sure to get on Facebook and show some love to our folks there, to our DSPs that are working so hard each and every day in order to be able to make sure that people we support have their best life. You know, it's just remarkable. I've had the pleasure of talking to a lot of DSPs this month and since my time at St. John's. And it's really cool to hear and see their attitude in motion and to hear them speak to it. So as I mentioned, Una Miller is our DSP highlight today, and she's a residential team leader in Tennessee. And let me just read the post to you. And this is from Ryan Temple. Adjectives which come to mind when describing Una are devoted, committed, loyal, versatile, hardworking, and caring. She lives by the SJCS mission and leads with her heart, a natural and incredibly valuable member of our team that works across all of our different departments. We love you, Miss Una, and thank you for all you do in being a champion for our people and cause. That is awesome. So please be sure, get on Facebook, get on our page, make sure that you give her some love, make sure that you give our other DSPs some love as well, Mayola, Brandy as well. Just let's make sure that we are calling out people like Joanne Washington and praising them for all that they're doing. Share and like and thank them so much for all that they're doing. And then in Advocates for All this month, we're also going to be highlighting our direct support professionals. And so last week we had Destin Johnson. You can see his interview either on our Facebook page or up on our website, sjcs.org. Next week, well, actually launching today will be Belinda Kimball. So be sure to be on the lookout for Belinda. And then I just had an awesome interview as well with Eddie Allen today. And Eddie has been a DSP for 26 years, which is absolutely phenomenal. And he started at CDS, and then St. John's took over CDS. He came with CDS to join St. John's. These folks are heroes. Absolutely what they do is amazing. And so be sure, again, get on Advocates for All. Make sure that you get on Facebook. Watch their stories. They will share little gems, these just little jewels of wisdom, of insight, just profound statements that they'll make. And they're not intending on saying these things because they're not seeking any kind of recognition. It's just who they are as people. And when you start talking to them and pulling their story out, they just start sharing from their hearts why they do what they do. And we can learn a lot from each and every one of them that will make us better people, both in St. John's and outside of St. John's. So please be sure to check out Advocates for All. Again, it's a great way to share the story of St. John's. Send that to your friends or share it on your Facebook feed. these are the folks that we get to work with each and every day. And it's really, really cool. And so be sure to give them some love and some gratitude. All right, let's see, other updates. Okay, I've got further updates from Precious that I want to just touch on. So let me pull that up really quick. Okay. We have a few highlights that we want to share. Okay, I hope I pronounced this correct. She's got it phonetically spelled out for me. Final install at the Tennessee Estacada home was completed yesterday, and the ladies living there are loving their new technology and the opportunities it is affording them. So one of the ladies residing in that home, who would normally require full assistance with all activities of daily living, was able to view the visitor to the front door and open the front door independently. You think about that, that is so huge. I mean, I've often heard Precious talk about individuals who may have never, ever had the freedom and the ability, the technology to be able to do that. And now through the work of St. John's and what we're doing on the innovation and technology side, we're able to help people really exercise independence, which is phenomenal. So way to celebrate that, that's awesome. And then also Dion Noel, a program coordinator here in DC, is also a Zumba instructor. She's been using her talents to hold Zoom Zumba classes for those we support in residential. So thank you for doing that, Dion, that is awesome. We have also begun to provide music therapy virtually to registered participants by our music therapist, Jody Albright, which is cool. So just amazing ways that we're using technology, right? Just to further how people can either be fit or learn something new like music or express themselves in a different way. These are all amazing, amazing breakthroughs. And so let's keep it coming. Let's keep doing this awesome. And then I got connected to this group a couple months ago, and we're starting to launch some campaigns with them. It's called Vote America. And Vote America exists to basically help grow the ability for people and access for people to vote. So this is very much about equal rights and opportunity, making sure that regardless of how you, what your philosophy is, which party or non-party you may affiliate with, that you have the information you need, the access and the opportunity to vote. And so Vote America is very cool. And we are partnering with them in order to be able to help people with intellectual developmental disabilities, to help people that may be experiencing homelessness, to help the people that we support, our elders down in Tennessee, have the opportunity to be able to vote. It is really, really important that we create these opportunities for people. Again, I may have my own perspective on party affiliation, but every individual, that right to vote is absolutely sacred. And let me tell you a little story about this, okay? I may have shared this with some of you before. Some of you know this about me. So I came from Canada. I immigrated from Canada when I was probably like 22 years old. I had gone to college here in Pennsylvania on a visa, and then returned back to Canada, and then ultimately ended up coming down to the United States to get my first real job here. But I did not go through the process of naturalization for probably almost, I would say, until 2012, really. So I came down in '94, and so it wasn't until 18 years later that I went through the process of naturalization. And I have to tell you that the main thing, I believe, outside of loving this country and experiencing what it was like to start to become an American and just experience the US, what differentiated me was, even though I might, love the United States, and even though I might have philosophy in line with different things and want to be part of this country, I wasn't a citizen. And because I wasn't a citizen, I couldn't vote. And so I never voted in an election until after I was naturalized in 2012. And so I can absolutely tell you, not being able to vote, in any election, because I couldn't vote in Canada either. So not being able to vote in any election for almost 20 years of my adult life, it mattered to me when, part of becoming a citizen and part of the pride of becoming a citizen was being able to be afforded the right to now vote. And so, the people that we support in whatever program, service line that we're doing that, they have a right to vote. They have a right for their voice to be heard. And so it's really important. And so this partnership with Vote America helps extend that, to them. It'll provide information, resources, whatever they need in order to be able to vote. So I can't speak enough about how important that is. You can go to our website, sjcs.org/vote, and you can learn more about our partnership with Vote America, but that's sjcs.org.
Okay.
Let me pause there just for a second. I saw that Rosie, you had a question. Sorry, I haven't been looking at Zoom. I've been looking at my notes. So I just saw Rosie hand up. Can I answer your question? Okay, Rosie, I can't hear you yet, but I will come back to you. Okay, so.
Okay.
Rosie?
I can't do it. I don't know how to do it.
Oh, okay, no worries. Okay, so I'm just gonna mute just a couple people here so we don't have the background noise. Okay, let's see. Sorry, I missed. There was a bunch of comments here that were happening while I was staring at my notes and not at the screen. So let me just pause for a second there. And Ryan Temple, you wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the tech at Estacada. Certainly would love to hear that if you want to do that.
Okay. Yeah. Hey guys. Absolutely incredible day. Last 2 weeks for Estacada, for our ladies at Estacada, getting their enabling technology. It'll be our first smart home. But if you knew the 3 ladies there, the 3 ladies are absolute sweethearts. Sweethearts. They're dolls, princesses, queens, you name it. One of our ladies there, Miss Marilyn, she's total care. But she's so brilliant. She communicates through a Dynavox, and she's bright, just a tiny little fragile lady. But she yesterday when I went there, I was greeted by the door opening by itself. And it was a really empowering moment for me to see and experience that, and I couldn't imagine what it was feeling like for them. So we've had some scenarios at that home with it being very poorly lit. When it's dark, you can't see in front of your nose because it's county and there's no street lights. So we've got Ring spotlights for any kind of movement. Obviously the Ring doorbell, everything goes through the technology and communicates to them inside so they can see what's going on outside. It was just a very powerful experience to watch, see, go through, and with them, and just kind of see the looks on their face. It was awesome. I just wanted to say that.
That's cool. Thank you for sharing that. So you better make sure that you keep on good terms so that they'll keep open the door for you. But that's great. Thank you for sharing that. And along the lines, continuing the topic of tech first here, we are going to be launching some agency-wide training on enabling technology, which is incredibly exciting. So because it'll position us to be able to develop skills that will continue to assist in designing tech supports for the people we support. So more to come on that, but this is, again, an agency-wide initiative and happening in pockets, but we're gaining momentum, and I'm really excited about where it's going to go. Finally, on the highlight piece of things. So this is interesting. North Face apparently is offering 50% off of all orders to healthcare workers. And as an SJCS employee with an SJCS ID, you can be afforded this offer, which is really cool. They've got some great products. So be sure to check that out. You might be asked to upload a copy of your agency ID and or pay stub just as proof. And then the coupon code is sent by email. But take advantage of that. So to go with that, and Ryan can drop this into the chat box as well, but it's www.thenorthface.com and just look for that tab. And then Precious will also put that in as well if we want to make that available. But certainly want you to know that that's great company, great products, great opportunity to save 50%. So take advantage of that. And then a couple Paycom reminders. Again, you were supposed to change your username and password to an email address and password that you can remember. So we do not have 100% compliance on this. A bunch of staff have not changed their usernames. And so they've, as a result, had to request multiple resets. For the record, I have only had to request one reset, but still, I am doing my best to make sure that I'm in compliance and following along, and that I have no red, flags or notifications. But please do what you can to change your username and your password to an email address. This is simple. I mean, honestly, like it is, like the program with Paycom is very easy. It's very fluid, very intuitive. So you shouldn't experience a lot of difficulty in doing it. We need you to do it in order to be compliant. If you're having problems, that's okay. Ask for help and we'll make sure, like, don't let the fact that you might not understand it hold you back from doing it, okay? So please ask for help and someone can help walk you through that process and we'll make sure that you have the support you need. But please, if it's just a matter of, not finding the time, not getting on to do it, that we need you to change. We need everyone to do this. So please get on Paycom and do that. And then again, the key here is if you are having an issue, reach out to your immediate supervisor. They'll be able to assist you with addressing those issues. And thank you, Precious, for those updates. All right, back to my notes. A couple things here with HR. So this week in paychecks, our direct support professionals should have received their bonuses. Again, we were doing $100 straight bonus. We were taking care of the taxes as well, so that we made sure that the amount landing in your paychecks was $100. We realized after the fact that there was some issues in pulling which codes we pulled to get employees. And so we got all of our part-time and full-time direct support professionals, anybody in that classification code. Unfortunately, in my apologies, we did not get anybody that was a sub. And so that was discovered kind of after the fact. We've troubleshot that. And those that were subs that worked in the month of September will be getting that bonus. Okay, so we are working on remedying that. You should see that in your next paycheck as well. Okay, so if you are a sub that works in September, you'll receive that bonus. And then in finance, just wanted to let you know, next week is a big week as the board of trustees for St. John's meets to kind of hear the quality strategy and budget plans for fiscal year 21. So the board is about 12 volunteers that come across from different industries and sectors because they care about St. John's and our mission, and they want us to be successful in achieving our mission and reaching more people and making a difference in their lives. And so they are our governing body. They don't get paid, they're all volunteers. And so myself and the members of the leadership team meet with them frequently, either in committees or as a board 4 or 5 times a year to brief them on how St. John's is doing. And as we enter a new fiscal year, we always meet with them and we talk about, here's what we're going to do for quality improvement so that we can continue to raise the bar on our quality and assurance here at St. John's. Here's what we're going to do for strategic initiatives so we can continue to build capacity for long-term viability and long-term expansion of mission of St. John's. And then here is the budget, the finances that support the financial plan that supports all of what we just talked about with quality and strategy. So that's kind of what the conversation goes like. So we have a meeting this Thursday with the board, and we'll be reviewing those plans. We're sending out those plans, or most of them, this afternoon, so they'll have about a week with them, and then we'll walk them through over the course of a 2-hour meeting, and then they will hopefully vote to accept them, and we will launch into fiscal year 21, which will be October 1. So the board is great. They've always been supportive. We work with them in committees and troubleshoot different things as they come up. They've been very active with us, as you can imagine, throughout COVID, and very supportive. So I don't anticipate any challenges going into the board meeting. And at the next town hall, I will be sure to come with highlights from that board presentation so that we can brief you on kind of what the board has approved and kind of the direction we're going to go into 2021. I'm looking forward to being able to do that. And so as soon as the board meeting is done on Thursday, Friday afternoon, we'll have town hall, and I'll take some time during town hall to brief you on what 2021 is going to look like and some really exciting initiatives that we have going on. And then also just wanted to, just as a reminder, follow up on what I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, that while we are very grateful for the financial support that many of you have offered to St. John's over the course of your time with us, we are stopping the practice in orientation of asking you to sign up to become a donor. And we are winding down the payroll deduction program for donations from employees, okay? And again, this is a philosophical decision because we want to honor what you are doing as an employee. We ask so much of you already, and you are doing such a phenomenal job. And so we don't want to put you in a position where you feel any sense of obligation or any hardship by having to donate. And so we absolutely want you to be involved with our campaigns when we launch them on social. Be sure to like them, be sure to share them, be sure to tell your story about why you love St. John's and the people we support. But you should not feel that you have to donate. And so we are winding down those programs and just want to keep that on the radar as we work with HR and finance and payroll, just to wind down the payroll deduction portion of that. Some people have had that automatically deducted from their paycheck. That program is ending. I don't have a timeline on that other than soon. Oh, Rich, to everyone, it is ended as of today. Okay, thank you, Rich. So that is done, and just want again thank you for that. We want to honor you by doing our best to support you and giving you the tools you need to do your job, and we also want to continue to encourage you and know that your efforts are making a difference. And so thank you for understanding kind of that change in philosophy. In marketing, a couple of things. We've got the Oasis micro campaign. We launched that very quickly. And it was a micro campaign. It was very targeted towards Oasis and helping participants moving in be able to get furnishings and household items that they needed, because a lot of them are coming out of homelessness and did not have anything. And so happy to report that we raised $1,200, which will go to support those needs for the individuals. I think we have 2 that are in the pipeline right now. I know people have signed leases. I know they're in the process of moving in. So we have 3 total in the program, 2 very new participants. And in addition to the $1,200 that was raised, we also received a recurring gift of $100 a month through the campaign. And so that's an additional $1,200, which is really exciting. So $2,400 will come into St. John's as a result of this campaign. And then there will also be some personal asks. So I anticipate there will be some additional dollars coming in, which is really cool. And then the Founders Board got very interested in the Oasis program and in supporting these participants. And they're working for the future on building a system that they can leverage their networks and their friends to be able to help provide furniture and household items for future program participants. But in the meanwhile, they donated 3 boxes of items, including kitchen supplies, bedroom essentials, and bathroom supplies. So all things that people need when you're first moving into a place, right? And so we want to thank them for that. That was really cool. And then kind of along that line of in-kind donations, if you remember, just over probably a month, maybe 5 weeks ago, we brought a new person on the fundraising team, on the marketing and development team, Janine Goodrich. And the purpose of her role primarily was to engage the community, starting in Ithaca, New York, and then working from there to be able to ask for in-kind donations. So not necessarily monetary donations, although I'm sure she's going to ask for those too, but furnishings, clothing, items that people need, that the people we support either in the shelter or that we support across our programs physically need. And so I'm really excited. She's hit the ground running, and with her outreach to local organizations already, she has the local Maria in Ithaca that's donating toiletries on a weekly basis. So shampoos and cleaning, anything that people need toiletry item wise, they're donating that to the shelter on a weekly basis. And then also she's been able to engage a local consignment store chain known as Plato's Closet to donate items on a weekly basis, which is awesome. So I'm really excited about that. And then she has been working with John Jackson in DC as well to potentially get vouchers for participants in the Oasis program to be able to go to the Georgia Ave thrift store and be able to shop. And so they'll be able to go in, they'll have a voucher, and they'll be able to get what they need at the thrift store there. And then she's also applied for Walmart grants for all of our program locations. So anywhere across the organization where there's a Walmart, we have applied for a grant. Those vary in size, but we're really excited about that. So again, just want to highlight the efforts of the marketing and fundraising team in their efforts to support St. John's and the people we support. Really exciting to see. And I really believe we are just getting started. I'm really excited because I know that Bessie, our Chief Development Officer, is working on the acquisition plan and mailings for this fall. They'll be going out sometime, probably October, November. And acquisition is a way that you are presenting your organization with the purpose of getting new donors, right? Because once you have new donors, then you can kind of cultivate them and lift them and get them to continue to engage at higher levels as they learn more about the organization. So she's working on the plan, and that will go out this fall. So more to come on that. Sorry, I lost my notes. So I need to get back on track here. Okay. All right, let me just pause there. I'm going to check for questions in either the chat box. So if you have a question, feel free to throw it in the chat box. And if you don't, that's fine. You could take yourself off mute also if you would prefer to do that. And then thank you, Ryan. I saw that. No questions on YouTube. Okay, so we'll just pause here for a second. Does anyone have any questions? I've kind of gone through a lot in a short period of time, so just checking in. So I see someone took themselves off mute. Is that because you have a question?
You still have rice in there. Yes, rice beside it.
Okay, not a question. All right. So, all right. So I believe I was muted now. All right. So $2 to give. You know, I really was blown away by George last week and just kind of his perspective that he shared about kind of the meditation that he's gone through and how that is built into his life. And that was really a cool thing to hear. So thank you, George, for sharing that. And kind of taking us into a space with you that maybe many of us probably would not otherwise have a chance to enter. One of the things that, you know, what hit me this week is the phrase, do whatever it takes, you know, and the reason why that's hitting me is in this time where we're recognizing and celebrating our DSPs and those that work on the front lines, you know, the theme that comes up repeatedly, whether it's in the Advocates for All interviews that I'm doing, whether it's when I get to visit DSPs, you know, it's been a little while since I've been able to be in a home with a DSP, but whatever, you know, whenever I get to talk to them and you read it on the post for Facebook, you certainly hear it in Advocates for All, you hear it when you interact with them, but it's that they will do whatever it takes. Like our DSPs will do whatever it takes. And that is so cool. It's because they love what they do and they love the people they support, you know, and it's at their core who they are. And, you know, and that's such a blessing that people, I think, often can take for granted. And, you know, if you think whatever it takes, like for the person that they support to either experience greater independence, greater community, greater inclusion, greater dignity, greater sense of joy, a greater sense of achievement, a greater sense of self, and specifically during this time of COVID, a greater sense of safety. You know, our DSPs will do whatever it takes. And it's not just a person-centered part of the plan. I mean, it is totally person-centered, but it goes beyond that. It comes from their center of who they are. And it's an act of selflessness and support. It's an act of belief that the other person's hopes and dreams and visions for their life, that the other person's needs are more important than the inconvenience or the work that it might take to realize those dreams. You know, when you think about the technology that we're rolling out and you think about, you know, we could be like a lot of providers and choose not to go down that space or make minimum investments and just do the bare minimum. We could do that, right? But our DSPs, our staff, our RTLs, you know, the organization of St. John's is different, you know, because at the core, our backbone, our front line of DSPs are willing to do whatever it takes. So they're willing to learn new technology so that that technology can then be used to support the independence and the freedoms and equality of the people they support. You know, that their lives become better and they can live them to the fullest, which is absolutely incredible. And, you know, I just keep coming back to that theme of doing whatever it takes. You know, it's really a really powerful attitude, and just one that speaks to a person's belief in humanity, equality, and humility. And so last week, you know, kind of transitioning here, last week when we heard from George, you know, one of the things that stood out to me in listening to George, and then that stands out to me from having an opportunity to kind of hang in his space often, you know, George started in direct support. You know, you think about how he got his start. He got his start in direct support. And if you remember what he said, he was so inspired by that time when he was first exposed to working with people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and believing what their potential is, that he was willing to do whatever it took to help them get out of any institution that they were in and into the community and be able to live the life that they wanted to live. Just like you and I have that opportunity to try to live the life that we want to live. He was willing to do whatever it takes. And so I wanted, really honestly, just to take a moment just to honor George, because 38 years later, you know, this man has impacted so many people's lives, you know, and he's done it individually in direct support and service to other people along his career path. And then he's done it in an administrative role in St. John's. And he's impacted, you know, so many people's lives. And I'll tell you what the consistent theme of George has been, you know, that in my short tenure with St. John's, I'm just coming up on 3 years, but I have heard this man over and over again, you know, amidst crisis, amidst challenge, whatever was facing us, he would say, we got to do whatever it takes. We have to do whatever it takes. That's what the job is. We do whatever it takes. And so I just wanted to take a moment to thank George, because as a direct support professional, he got that vision, you know, and how it would impact people's lives. And then as his career changed and morphed and he took on different opportunities and different responsibilities, he never lost what he learned as a DSP. He never lost what was most important, and he just applied it to the maximum that he could. And so, you know, in the midst of the pandemic and the crisis, when March and April exploded and we were having fallout all over the place, you know, it was then that he was willing to do whatever it took. You know, he was writing grants, and he was researching PPP loans and researching EIDL, and he was doing whatever he could to try to figure out what the states were doing from a compliance standpoint, and were they changing rates, not what was happening. So, you know, I just wanted to just take a second for all of us to take a moment. I thought it was appropriate that even though George technically no longer wears the title of DSP, he's never, ever lost the heart of a DSP. And I've been blessed to be able to be in a residence and see him engage with a person that we support, and just see him light up over the ability to do that, and to see how this person's life has changed. I've been with him when we've been visiting employment sites, and see him interact with people that are so excited because they have this amazing job. He's got the heart of a DSP, and I think it is a big reason why we are who we are as an organization, because you have someone that's given 38 years over the course of their time, that came up through the ranks, that started out on the front line in an organization and came up through the ranks, and all along the way, never used their kind of move next level position to advantage for themselves, but always to do better by the people that we supported. So I just will pause there and say thank you to George, our original DSP, or as Precious said, our original Q. And also, you know, I'm probably not alone in this desire to give some gratitude, especially after hearing from George last Friday. So if you would like to thank George as well, feel free to either throw something in the chat box or take yourself off mute. And I'm sure that he would appreciate it all.
Thanks, Alan. Much appreciated. And it's just an honor being with everyone. Yeah, very heartfelt. Thank you.
Very welcome.
I just want to just share. Most people don't know. We started our IDD services here in Washington, D.C. And the reason why we have these services is because George was one of the people who went to Forest Haven and told those folks, whoever's ready to come, let's go, and started our first homes in the IDD world underneath the umbrella of IDD waiver services. Of course, I'm not talking about something from 158 years ago. I'm talking not the original services, but ever since the deinstitutionalization process, I messed that whole word up. Anyway, that's my speech impediment. But shut up, Brittany. Ever since that process happened, at least for, it started in DC, George is the one who started it. So we always acknowledge him as our first cue because we had the first homes and George was the first person to write those ISPs and get that stuff going. So most people don't even know that all the services that we're currently providing today, it bounced off of George's back. So I just wanted to just say that. That's a fun fact for you, Carl, but that's something for us to really realize that we are all standing here because George was there.
Well said.
Thank you, Precious. Too kind.
Anybody else? Lots of love in the chat.
I can say something.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I'm always trying to jump at the bit to say something. George is a very impressionable man, very wise, and I got to learn a lot about George from my teammates here when I came on 2 years ago. Every word of it is true. Very wise, very gentle, very thorough, spirit of excellence, very supportive, very transparent, excellent leader and man. And appreciate you, George. And great job. Very entertaining last week.
Thanks, Brian. That's funny.
That's awesome. No, we love you, George. We appreciate all that you do for St. John's. A lot of I came from a faith-based organization, and some of you have worked in faith-based organizations and know that sometimes there's difficult places to work because they don't always live out their values, and there's a lot of political kind of stuff happening behind the scenes, and people trying to kind of take advantage of situations or whatever. When I came to St. John's, one of the things that struck me was just how inclusive an organization this was and how non-political it was. And at the center of that, I credit George. I mean, as someone that had been with the organization for as long as he had, at that point, I guess it would have been around 35, 36 years. George did everything he could to kind of make me feel like I had been here for, 20 years, and just wanted me to feel welcome. And, that again is part of the DNA. It's part of the inclusive DNA of this organization. Our DSPs have it for every individual that they support. They want the people that they serve and support to know that they can do anything, and that we're big cheerleaders, that they're going to be cheerleaders with them all on the way. And George has done that. And I have said before that St. John's may not be a faith-based organization, but we are faith-filled in many ways. And I think last week we heard George share from his own space, what is important to him and his values, and where he finds hope for the future and humanity, and where he finds purpose, frankly. And so we're grateful, George, that you have shared that purpose with us. And I wanted to kind of hold up George, to thank him, but also because, again, his roots were being a direct support person. He was providing that care directly. And so my message to all of our DSPs out there is, we see you. Like, we are trying to see you as much as we can, and we want to see you more, because what you believe in your voice and your passion for those we support matters. It matters not just in the homes that you serve. It matters not just like on the job sites. Those are incredibly important. Please don't get me wrong. To the individuals you're supporting, that matters the world. And I would never want them not to experience that. But that modeling, the role modeling that you're doing, and the passion that you have and the advocacy that you have, we need that throughout the whole organization. And we're fortunate to have people like George that have served in both on the front lines and in administration, so that they can help us better understand what it is like to serve in that role and what it is like to truly be an advocate and truly believe in those we serve. So thank you all. I will pause there, but those were my 2 fucks to give. And I see lots of good comments in Dr. Lee Kauflis, lots of great comments there, which is phenomenal. That's it for our meeting. So the meeting is formally adjourned, but if you would like to hang out, if you've got questions or whatever, I'll stay up here for a few minutes, up until say 3:30. But thank you all for everything that you do. Thank you for making St. John's a reality. Thank you for caring so much for the people that we support. Thank you for being the ambassadors of our mission and making that a reality. And whether you're coming off a long week and heading into the weekend, I hope that you have an opportunity to rest up and get some self-care. Whether you are, heading into your shift this weekend, thank you for doing that. And I hope that I wish you all the best and that you find new facets of joy in your job and in supporting people this weekend. Have a great weekend, all.
Thanks, Alan. You too.
Take care, everybody.
And thanks for those that are watching on YouTube. I'm going to just turn that off and stop streaming now, but thank you very much for catching us on YouTube. Have a great